Hey everyone, I am Christopher, and today I'll be installing these Hall Effect joysticks from HandHeldDIY. To be fully transparent, they did send me these for free to review, but I'll be giving you my honest thoughts on their performance. If you're interested in picking up a pair yourself, I'll have a link to their Amazon listing and their website down in the description below. Alright, let's talk about these Hall Effect joysticks that HandHeldDIY sent me. They're TMR Hall Effect joysticks, which basically means that they use less power consumption, have higher sensitivity, and most importantly, zero drift and minimal dead zones. These joysticks use a Hall Effect sensor, which is a non-contact technology, making them way more durable and precise than your typical Joy-Con joysticks. So, they're built to last and provide a smoother and more enjoyable gaming experience, even with heavy usage. If you've had issues in the past with Joy-Con drift, you know how frustrating that can be. The original Joy-Cons wear out over time, but with these Hall Effect joysticks, you get a better performance and no more drift over time. They're a drop-in replacement for the Nintendo Switch, Switch OLED, and Switch Lite. It's a super easy installation, which means no modding required. These joysticks are known to give smoother and more precise control, and since these last much longer than stock joysticks, you won't have to worry about drift or wear anymore. Basically, they're built for serious gamers who want a more reliable performance. The joysticks come well packaged in a compact box, and the box has all the product information like the color and what product it supports and the manufacturer date. So let's open it up and take a look at what's inside. You'll find the instruction manual, which includes a QR code or a link to a step-by-step installation guide for the Hall Effect joysticks. There's also another QR code linking to the manufacturer's website. Along with the joysticks, you'll find the basic tools you need for the installation. The joysticks themselves feel great. I really like the rubberized texture on the top of the joystick. It provides a nice grippy experience while gaming. Currently, I have the Ghillie Kit Hall Effect joysticks installed on my wife's Joy-Cons, but unfortunately, they haven't held up with regular use. On my right Joy-Con, the joystick is already malfunctioning, it no longer turns left, and it feels overly resistant when moving the joystick. So, let's swap it out. Now, we're going to disassemble the right Joy-Con. Using the provided Y-shaped screwdriver, remove the 4 black screws on the back of the Joy-Con. Once the screws are removed, grab the plastic pick and gently pry open the plastic shell. Be extra cautious around the ribbon cables to avoid damaging them. Once the shell is open, carefully disconnect the battery. If you're concerned about the connector, you can use tweezers that they provide, but honestly, it's easier to just use your fingers to disconnect it. The tweezers are too big and bulky to get in that space properly. Now, unscrew the 3 screws that hold the inner plastic piece of the Joy-Con together, and be sure to unclip the Bluetooth cable from the plastic casing. Avoid yanking it out if you can. If it does come out, no worries, just reconnect it during the reassembly. Unclip the ribbon cable that connects the joystick to the motherboard and remove the 2 screws securing the joystick in place. Once the screws are out, remove the old joystick, and we're going to position the HandHeldDIY Hall Effect joystick in its place and secure it with the 2 screws. Now we're going to reconnect the ribbon cable to the motherboard and carefully snap the clip to secure it in place. Flip the inner plastic piece back over, screw the 3 screws back into the inner plastic piece, making sure the Bluetooth cable isn't trapped underneath the casing, but if it is, like in my case, just move it out of the way and secure it back in place. We're now going to set the battery back in its place and adjust the Bluetooth receiver back into its slot and adjust the cable so we can properly close the Joy-Con. Reconnect the battery and ensure the connector is properly seated. This part can be a little bit tricky, but with a little patience, it should snap back into place. Close the Joy-Con and screw the 4 Y screws back into place. And we're finished with the right Joy-Con. We can move to the left Joy-Con, which is much easier than the right. Just like the right Joy-Con, start by removing the screws and prying open the plastic shell with a plastic pick. Remove the battery and unscrew the bottom right and top left screws underneath the battery. Also at the bottom right of the Joy-Con, remove that third screw. Carefully remove the ribbon that covers the top left screw on the joystick to avoid damaging it. Or you can just slide it over to the side and unscrew the joystick. Once you've removed the cable, unscrew the joystick and remove the ribbon cable as well. If the left bumper pops out, simply set it aside and we can reattach it later. Before installing the new joystick, I recommend removing the cable that holds the inner shell in place to give yourself more room for the joystick ribbon cable. You don't have to remove it, but it would make installing the cable easier. Install the new joystick, reconnect the cable, and close the clip to secure it. Screw the joystick back in place. Reconnect the trigger ribbon that covered the joystick screws, then reattach the left bumper. When reassembling the inner shell, make sure the uncovered portion of the ribbon connector is facing up. Screw the inner shell back in place. Reinstall the battery and close the Joy-Con, securing it with the screws. Once both joysticks are installed, I recommend testing their calibration. On the Nintendo Switch, navigate to the calibration settings for the Joy-Cons and follow the on-screen instructions. For me, the joysticks were slightly off-centered when I moved up, down, left, or right, so I followed the calibration steps to reset them. It's going to ask you to move the joystick in a certain direction and hold it in place, then release. Then it will ask you to spin the joystick around to finish the calibration. After calibrating, the joystick should be centered properly and you should see immediate improvement in their responsiveness. You have to calibrate each Joy-Con individually, so just repeat the calibration steps on the other Joy-Con. Finally, I put the new Hall Effect joysticks to test. I tried playing a variety of games on my Switch and I immediately noticed a smoother, more precise movement, especially when testing games that required fine control like Mario Kart. For around $20, buying these Hall Effect joysticks is definitely worth it. It saves you the trouble of having to spend $90 on new Joy-Cons or shipping your old Joy-Cons to Nintendo to fix for you, which doesn't guarantee the Joy-Con drift problem will be fixed. I did do a few test runs on multiple Zelda titles, and I noticed my joysticks would no longer get stuck in one place, causing my characters to get stuck moving in one direction. As you can see, I can easily manipulate the camera in Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm able to control Link very easily. Also, while using Ultra Hand, I had an easier time maneuvering it around and placing it where I actually wanted it to be. Sadly, I don't have any first-person shooters on my Switch to test the mobility and accuracy of the joysticks, but I did use them when aiming my bow on Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and it felt I had more precision while aiming. I do take my Switch with me in a case wherever I go, so they're always protected, but even when traveling and having my case get tossed around in the back or in my bag, they're still working great. So in short, I would recommend this product if you're looking to upgrade your stock joysticks or if you're already suffering from the Joy-Con drift plague. This product has many positive reviews and HandHeldDIY has built a reputation with customers through other Hall Effect joysticks for other handheld devices. I personally am already liking it and will continue to use these Joy-Cons with my Switch. And hopefully I can make an updated review sometime in the future, and I'll let you know how they're holding up. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, take it easy.